Terry White, chemist, and there's been one change from the side we saw last week, and what an important one. Wally Fullerton-Smith with a broken bone in his hand, and that's the Redcliffe side. Holder at fullback, two good wingers, two young wingers, Thorne and Barwick, Benson and Rolls in the centres. Robbie Chew, the captain at 5'8", what an important role and responsibility is on his shoulders to make sure that Redcliffe are creative. Colin Part, then the forwards, Bleakley, the North Queensland connection in the second row, Keogh and Cowell, the front row, Niebling, Kinescu and Webb. Brothers taking their time to get on the field, sponsored by Alpha Micro. Two changes to the side that we saw here a couple of weeks ago. Klein and Tapper out, although Johnny Tapp should sit on the bench. The side, more at fullback, O'Brien and Kilroy. Joey Kilroy, there he is in the starting lineup. On the wing, an important player. Grogan and Burns in the centres. The halves, Gill and Greg Smith. The mobile forward pack, Staines, McElwain, Gary Smith, Bomber, Bailey and Carter.
Well, David, in the minors semi-final, Brothers stole victory from Valleys in the last 2 minutes.
That's right. They haven't been exactly in brilliant form themselves, but they've had a 2-week preparation for this match, which will be very handy. And if we look at how they performed against Redcliffe in previous encounters, we'll see in the first round, Redcliffe had an absolute purple patch to run in about 25 points in the first 20 minutes of the game. So Brothers will want to forget that one. In the second round, one of the best games of the season, Brothers came back strongly, but Redcliffe still held out to a 17 points to 14 victory. I do think, though, that Brothers just have the type of game plan to negate Redcliffe's strengths.
There's a grand final spot on offer. Let's see who's going to go through. Trevor Bailey to get the preliminary final underway. The referee is David Manson. Brothers in a huddle just before the kick-off, while Redcliffe was set and ready. And there's the kick-off from Trevor Bailey. Gathered by Keogh immediately, and in comes the defence from Carter and Baumba. Penalty to Redcliffe inside the 5. The Brothers forwards coming up quickly.
Redcliffe won the toss and they've elected to run with this quite strong breeze coming out of the southwest, so they've got an advantage of the breeze in the first half, and they'll be looking to capitalise on that advantage.
Benson finds touch.
Fair crowd here at Lang Park this afternoon. Let's to be hoped that we have a bumper crowd for the grand final next week.
Thorne from the tap to his feet. Webb using the hip. McElwain in there with Baumba. Now it's Cowell across the ruck to Niebling. Grogan out wide as Burns. He leaves it behind. It's a knock on. He fell on it himself. Managed to pull it in.
As expected, nothing between these two sides in the early stages, but we've seen that they're both prepared to move the ball pretty early in the tackle count. A couple of mistakes coming.
And it's not easy to move the ball with this wind swirling around. Penalty to Redcliffe. Gill coming up too fast on the open side of the scrum.
The rule is you must stay behind the last line of forwards in the scrum before the ball comes out. Differential penalty. Redcliffe going to look for touch.
Benson takes play inside the Brothers' quarter.
Redcliffe thought they were a little bit hard done by in the game against Wynnum last week. They didn't get early points on. They'll be looking for them today.
Barwick. Holder was coming through. Barwick almost went behind him. Kinescu comes around Part. Webb has it. Looks for support with Keogh. Only 5 metres out. Out it comes to Chew. Kinescu wraps around him. Chew goes himself. The Brothers' defence holds. Kinescu looked inside, but there was no one there. Keogh a dummy half. Part. Chew steps back inside as Niebling. He loses it. Staines can't handle. And finally gathered in by Part, but the knock-on will be played.
Redcliffe seemed to be falling into the trap of stepping back on the inside. There were gaps on the outside then, and Robbie Chew would have done better to move it.
Greg Smith to feed. Brothers ball. And the strong tackle there comes in from Bleakley, getting out of the scrum quickly to take Smith as he came around the scrum base. Staines. Moore. Had Carter in support and almost got the arms free. Working the blind, Gary Smith. Midway between the quarter and halfway.
Staines steps off that left. Good step. Breaks the tackle. Inside to support there with Bailey. Back inside to O'Brien. Weaving his way through the forwards. Fifth tackle. Bailey looks towards the blind. Was going to kick, but now sends it the other way. Gill has it. Away from the tackle of Benson. Grogan. And he's down 10 metres into Redcliffe territory, but that's a turnover.
Good passage of play from Brothers, and Dan Staines, who has been in good form for the Brethren in the latter part of this season, showing that little step and the run up the middle, and good back up from Bailey.
Finescu fades wide, picks up Niebling.
The only blemish, I think, there from Brothers. They certainly should have been looking to kick the ball downfield. Changeover really takes all the heat off.
Cowell. Nice tackle from Smith. Now long pass to Chew. He uses the breeze. Kicking away from the fullback, but it's out on the full.
And certainly the breeze did get under that. Very strong coming out of that southwest corner of Lang Park, the top left of your screen. There's the Brothers bench, and they've got plenty of fresh reserves here today. Of course, Tony Ray, Brett McCarthy, Trevor Smith, Matt Lansky and young Coyne on the bench there. So their reserve grades already into the final. And the under-19s, of course, got through today. So Brothers have got plenty of keen reserves there.
Ball dropped by Burns, but it went backwards and Gill fell on it. Kilroy. 10 metres into Redcliffe territory. McElwain shows that little bit of a spurt. Played plenty of football in the backs earlier in the season. Carter. Baumba. Saw the defence coming, tried to step back inside. Now it's Gill. Grogan goes for the outside of his man, gets it to Burns. Burns struggling to get free.
Gee, had he got his hands free, then Kilroy was just motoring.
Last tackle. Gill will put it up into this breeze. Up high, swinging back towards the touchline as Holder comes across. Takes it well. Not easy to judge.
Great work from Darryl Holder. That ball would have been very difficult to try and determine just where it was going to come down.
Cowell hit with the tackle from Staines, coming up quickly, driving into him with a shoulder. Webb crunches into McElwain. Carter comes over the top with Smith. Part took his eye off the ball. Niebling picks it up.
Well, Redcliffe would do well not to play the game down in their own territory. They've got an enormous wind behind them, and very easy way to gain about 60-odd metres.
Brothers ball. Smith. Smith sees a gap. Goes straight through it. Links up with Gill. Gill for the try line. Yes, it's a try. First points to Brothers.
Great work from Greg Smith, the halfback. Showed exceptional pace away from the base of the scrum, and then did it beautifully. Found his 5'8", looming up in support. Two players have been criticised for lack of pace really during the season, but they showed plenty of skills to do everything perfectly. Have a look at this as Greg Smith takes the ball out, loops the scrum. The lock forward there should have been the man to make the tackle, and does just get to him bleakly, but can't hold on to him. And then the little pass up. Gee, that's good work from Smith. And then Gill right on the spot, crashes over. First try to Brothers.
Trevor Bailey, 50% success rate with a boot this season. The breeze coming across the kick. And straight between the posts. So Brothers go to a lead of 6-0 after 12 minutes of play. Benson will be trying to drive this one deep into Brothers territory. And look at that kicker, could go out on the full. It has, over the dead ball line on the full. Penalty to Brothers on the halfway line.
Redcliffe not judging this wind at all well. One kick in general play went out on the full. That made a scrum back where he kicked it. And this one, of course, they're going to pay the maximum. That will be a penalty right on the halfway. Redcliffe making the mistakes and Brothers capitalising.
Clinton Moore decides to take the tap rather than look for touch into the wind. Carter. Smith across the ruck to Staines. He went behind McElwain, but play on.
It looked to be an obstruction.
On the blind side is Smith. Making good ground, the second rower. Now moving it wide through Gill. Grogan pops it back to Gill, just coming back behind him. Away from Niebling, he's still going. Last tackle. 32 metres out. On the blind side of Staines. Little step inside. Pops it away to Burns when the defence converged on him. Burns gets a terrible left footer away. Rolled a few yards, but now it's more. Back inside is Bomber. Good backing up. Left behind by O'Brien. Dived on by Redcliffe.
Redcliffe would do well to get the ball and kick it straight downfield. They're playing the game inside their own territory with a howling gale at their back. And it was the try that eventuated from Brothers directly from a mistake from Redcliffe.
Cowell.
Playing the game at the wrong end of the park.
Ginescu had a little fumble at dummy half, but the penalty's gone to Redcliffe.
Inside the 5 metres there, Brothers. Gary Smith was caught, but Brothers moving up very quickly, and they're not allowing Redcliffe any room to move. Redcliffe really have got to ensure that they use the wind that they've got to their advantage in this first half. And so far they haven't done that.
Benson kicking right across with the breeze. Finds touch. Niebling received medical attention briefly. Midway between the quarter and halfway. Holder. Ginescu sends it to Part. Niebling running off him. Part comes across, gives it to Keogh, a forward pass, offside.
Well, we see so many of those short little passes. It's always very hard to time your run on that. And the little pass up from Colin Part. Let's have a look at it. Yes, forward for sure.
Bomber dummy half. Yes, knock on. Just a little fumble.
Well, let's see if Redcliffe can win their first scrum. 4-0 down at the moment. What an important one it is. See this little knock on at dummy half. Bomber, yeah, there it is. Just a little bit of a fumble. Actually, a double fumble. Redcliffe have won their first.
Part. No room through there. Gary Smith out with Staines. Cowell. Bomber takes him. Stewart dummy half. Steps past McElwain. Good work from 5'8". Read it well. Gets it to Cowell. Cowell steaming for the line. Only inches short. Held up by Ginescu. Keogh.
I don't know why they want a crisscross move on then. The time was to run straight at the try line.
Part. Sends it to Tew. Inside he's Bleakley, but he holds it himself. Last tackle 10 metres out. Right in front of the posts. Part. Kicks across. Pressure this time for Kilroy. He handballs it over the dead ball line. So that'll be a goal line dropout.
Well, Joe, that was all right last year to tap them dead because it didn't matter if you were caught in your in-goal area or a knock over the dead ball line. But this year, had he taken that one cleanly, and he should have attempted to, let's have a look at it here on the replay. On one side of the ruck, Colin Part puts it back onto the right-hand side of the ruck. Pretty good kick this one, but once again, the wind taking it into the in-goal area, and Kilroy really should have tried to take this on the full and go to ground. Would have been a 22-metre tap. Now Brothers under pressure.
Kilroy had the time to take that one on the full, if as long as his surrounding players told him. I saw Grogan there, whether or not he told him that he had plenty of time.
Possibly a lack of communication, or old habits die hard.
Bleakley. Oh, loses the ball. There was a strong tackle from Carter that jolted his arms, and it's a knock-on.
Well, Redcliffe aren't playing well. They've made too many errors. Brothers, on the other hand, doing it pretty well.
Smith puts it, gives it a little bit of favour to his own side there. Moore from full-back.
Brothers looking dangerous from the base of the scrum. They've scored one try from there, and they've been quite creative, even within their own territory.
Burns wrestled the ground by Tew.
There's the Redcliffe bench, the reserves, just waiting their chance, but just at the moment, Redcliffe aren't playing well, and it may be that Darryl Vandervelde has to make a couple of tactical changes later in the match.
Staines back on his feet. Plenty of water applied to the head to bring him round. Now there's the kick from Greg Smith. Holder under it. Away from Bournemouth. Sucks the open spaces. Smith makes the tackle, the kicker. Good run from the fullback. Now Part sends it out to Bleakley. And a classic tackle again. It's Gill diving around the half. Webb. Pushes Grogan away, wants to go on with it as it moves out through Part to Rolls. Cowell out there in the backs, Holder. Back inside, it goes for Benson. Oh, intercepted almost by McElwain. He read that one perfectly, just couldn't hold on to it and should have held on to it.
Ooh, yeah, should have been shut the gate too had he done so. Redcliffe getting a little bit desperate with their passes. There's Benson picking it up. The idea was right to get it back across field because Brothers were thin, but look at McElwain right in between. Could easily have just got a claw on that and could have gone all the way.
Redcliffe ball from the scrum, juggled by Rolls. Gary Smith has it. Lost on the first tackle, and they're making far too many mistakes in this half of football.
Yep, and Redcliffe will rue the day. Brothers being pretty consistent.
Greg Smith. The way things are going at half-time, I think Vanderveld might wish that he never had the wind in the first half because they've they've made mistakes with it, but now it's Grogan over the touchline.
Brothers looking dangerous now. Okay, that's a mistake. They shouldn't have run into touch there, but they're certainly being creative and positive about what they're doing. The Redcliffe errors are coming about more from just silly errors, whereas here it is. This is a good little wrap here. There's Grogan. Grogan fires it to Kilroy. Kilroy down the blind, then Grogan's gone around him again, looking for the shortest little blind possible, and it's only the cover defence that gets him.
Hart has it. Brothers leading 6-0. 12 minutes remaining in the first half. Cowell hit by Staines and Baumba. There's some strong defence in this match. Not many missed tackles. Bleakley.
Cowell still recovering from that last tackle, and he's been hit hard a couple of times.
Part to Niebling. Keogh. Thorne had gone inside him. Niebling pushes Canescu out of the way. The referee allows play to go on. Last tackle. Can Redcliffe get the kick away effectively this time? Up it goes. Bit more underneath it. Knocks it backwards, was it? Or rest. Referee says play on to scramble on the ground. And 6 more tackles to Redcliffe. Benson has it. Oh, mistake, but it was Gill coming through from an offside position, caused Bleakley to drop it.
Good refereeing this too, because Gill definitely interfered with the man who was about to take the ball. Redcliffe are really about to go on the attack here, and pretty good work from Gill. There he is, just crossing in front of Bleakley, I think it was, who dropped the ball.
Bob Keogh is about 35 metres out. Has the wind right behind him, has kicked 1 from 1 in this year's Winfield Cup and lifts this one high, but it's waved away to the left of the uprights.
It's spoiled his record. He's gone from 100% to 50 in one kick.
There's the drop out from Burns. Not sure why the kicks would have been taken away from Brett Rolls. He has a 60% record. Holder slips a pass to Canescu well. Hart, Tew, moving it wide. Benson looking for outside pass to Keogh, but it was an offside again. Forward pass and offside. Burns will look for touch. Redcliffe are trying to force it, David.
They are trying to force it. I think it's noticeable too, Warren, that Brothers are taking their time about everything. They don't take any kicks quickly. They're just eating up time. They're into the wind in the first half and they've got a lead. They're playing it quite coolly.
Bailey back to O'Brien. Now it's a very disciplined performance from the Brothers in this half. Very controlled football. Gill to Carter on the rampage. Carter looking for support. Baumba was coming up.
He was a second too late, Ray Baumba.
Bleakley made the tackle. Back on the blind side they go. The wide blind with Staines. Steps inside one, makes the break. Looking for support, going himself. Beats Holder, but he falls just short of the line. It was a desperate lunge from behind, knocked him over. It was Bleakley, just saved the try. Now Smith sends it out to Carter. Quickly onto Grogan. Grogan sets sail. Sends a pass on to Burns, and Burns is over in the corner. That's the try that Brothers were looking for.
Good football from Brothers. They, with initially that burst from Dan Staines, they put Redcliffe off guard, and then they quickly moved it back on the left-hand side. And good passing, really. One long pass that skirted the ruck, and then Burns finishing off nicely. Playing the centres today, but normally a winger. There's McElwain firing it out. Greg Smith, the long one, cut out Peter Gill, and then Carter didn't run any further than he had to. Grogan then decided to commit the defence, fired it across Kilroy, straight into the hands of Burns, and he scoots across in the corner. Let's have a look at this one from behind and we'll see how quickly Brothers clear the ruck here. Couple of good passes. There's a good one from McElwain. This is a special, that one from Smithy, and then Carter doesn't run. Confronted, but Grogan does. Couple of paces, commits the winger, leaves Burns unmarked, and across he goes in the corner, beating the cover defence.
Trevor Bailey, a difficult attempt, right into the breeze from out wide. Swinging back with the breeze, but across the face of the post, and he misses with that attempt. So the score remains Brothers 10, Redcliffe 0, 6 minutes till half-time. Redcliffe, plenty of work to do with the breeze at their backs and down by 10 points. Kilroy sets off towards centre field. The defence wraps him up. Webb with Bleakley. Bailey. Again, Bleakley makes the tackle. O'Brien at dummy half, in from the wing. Has a run. Hart injured in the tackle. No, back on his feet quickly. McElwain.
High tackles coming in from Redcliffe too. They want to be careful and keep them down.
Staines, Gill, held onto the pass. Gary Smith had just overrun him. It's good work to hold that pass back. Last tackle, 10 metres short of the halfway. Staines sends it on out to Smith, onto Moore. Moore showing some pace. He's elusive. Away from Benson, going down the touchline. Gets the kick away, but it's a poor one, straight over the touchline. He was aiming to get it back into the centre field.
Yeah, I think he was about 40 metres out where he intended that one to land, but he got away with it. But a good break. That was the 5th tackle, therefore it was worthy of a little bit of panic football. And the idea was right with Kilroy on the fly just in behind him.
Originally, I think Staines was going to kick it, but the Redcliffe defence put pressure on him. Penalty to Redcliffe from the scrum.
Breaking too early, I think he's got here. The second row getting out quickly, and of course that's what Brothers do. Once they haven't got loose head and feed, they're very quick to set up a defensive position by breaking from the scrum.
Benson finds touch. Well, with 3 minutes till half-time, Redcliffe need to put points on the board. Thorne.
Well, we've seen him here in the last few weeks at Lang Park against Winner Manly, and they found it very difficult to score tries. Only one last week against, and that was from a breakdown in play.
Niebling finds a hole in the forwards and loses the ball. He was trying to pop it up for Chew following behind. Knock on to be played.
Once again, Redcliffe making the mistake on early tackles. There's Niebling. It's a good pass, that one from Koneski to put Niebling up the middle of the ruck. He strides up nicely, then looks for Chew. Little call there, but he was hit by Clinton Moore. No, it wasn't. Greg Smith in cover defence, and just knocked the ball down.
Raked back for Brothers. Clinton Moore. Chance here to catch the defence. Not set. Oh, well handled by Grogan. That was down around the ankles. He just held onto it.
30 seconds to go in the first half.
Staines, he's been causing some problems. O'Brien still going, only 3 metres out. Bailey to Gill. Gill goes himself, pops a pass back inside. There's no one there. Brothers still in possession. 5 seconds on the clock. Grogan plays it. Bailey. And wastes the opportunity as he's taken in the tackle. So at half-time, Brothers, having faced the wind this half, with it at their backs in the second half, leading by 10 points to 0. For Brothers, tries to Gill and Burns, while Bailey has kicked 1 from 2. For Redcliffe, the only attempt missed by Bob Keogh. Statistics, the scrums have gone Brothers' way, 8-5, 1 tight head apiece, and the penalty shared 5-all. No changes in either side for the second half, and there's a mistake from Redcliffe to begin things for the second half, and they just can't do a thing right today. They've tried that cross kick with success in the last 2 matches here at Lang Park, and today, well, they just can't put a foot right.
Yeah, this is disaster for the Dolphins here. Brothers now with the wind at their back. They could even have a shot for a goal from there. Let's have a look what's going to happen. Burns coming in. He's going to find touch with the wind right behind him.
Burns Takes play to the 22-metre line, making a lot more ground, or just short of it.
There's a tackle from the first half. Brothers had to make 87, Redcliffe 104. Some pretty good efforts there. Gary Smith, Carter and Bomber for Brothers. Interesting, Redcliffe have missed 15 tackles. That's the highest missed tackle count in the first half of football this year.
Gill spins around, loses the ball. Knock on.
Well, the only thing that could bring Brothers unstuck here now is a little bit of complacency. They know they've got the wind at the back. There's Gill just losing the ball under the attentions of Bleakley. There's Darryl Vanderbilt. Look, the shattered man. John Lehman sitting on one side of him and Mark Murray on the other. But we saw him come in after the half-time, after the session in the dressing rooms, and he looked a shattered man. Very disappointed in the performance of his team thus far.
Bleakley.
A couple of things are important here for Redcliffe in the second half. One is that they do score first, but they don't need to play panic football to do it. As long as they're the first scorer, even if it takes them 30 minutes, there's a penalty going to Redcliffe here, so a chance to get down into Brothers territory. But there's 35 minutes to go in the match. They're down 10-0. They must be the first scorer, but they don't have to go crazy to get it on the board early.
Benson will look for touch. Gains about 8 metres right across the field. Barwick. Bomber and Bailey up-end him. Canescu. Webb crunched. Carter comes in there with Staines.
Let's have a look at this. Here it is on the winger. He gets picked up. Barwick it is. Lifted up and then unceremoniously dumped into the ground. Dangerous tackle for mine. Should have been a penalty.
Out it goes across the backs to Chew. Inside is Cowell. Can't handle it as the tackler hits him. Gill picks it up onto Bailey. Knocked down by Rolls. Niebling has it, but he was offside.
Well, I don't agree he was offside because Rolls certainly knocked it down, but then Rolls was in front of Niebling when Niebling went to pick up the ball. Let's have a look at it. Rolls there. OK, he knocks it down, but have a look at this. Rolls then goes past Niebling, puts Niebling onside. Rolls in front of Niebling by then. He's onside then. Niebling should have been able to pick up the ball.
Trevor Bailey, 42 metres out. Just to the right of the uprights with the wind at his back. Has the length. That waved away, taken by Holder in the in goal. Good tackle from Gary Smith. Keogh. Canescu at dummy half, knocks on. Terrible mistake to make in that position.
Yeah, they're the basics. Here it is, just a little one, dummy half, gets down to it nicely. The technique is right, and then just tries to move as he's picking up the ball, instead of picking it up first, but against the head. And a penalty. Greg Smith not staying behind his pack of forwards until the ball came out. So often you see it when a hooker has made a mistake like that. He's very intent to get it back. Must have been a good strike by Canescu to initially get the ball against the head.
Redcliffe just needs something to suddenly spark them alive, to turn their fortunes around. They can't do it right at the moment.
Really, Warren, it's pretty hard to see a player that's going to do it, though. There doesn't seem to be a great deal of try-scoring potential in the side. There's no one really that I can recall other than Robbie Chew making a half break in the first half that's come out the other side of this Brothers defence. Once again, we've seen Brothers concentrate their defence around the play the ball area, and Redcliffe have been unable to breach it.
There's Brian Niebling. The Dolphins would be hoping he'd be one who could pierce the defence, but I think he's only slid through on one occasion in the match. Defence has been equal to the task so far. Back it goes to Benson. Crunched by Carter. Staines was the first one in there. Cowell. Good pass onto Part, but no, again, offside. Or is he going to rule just the forward pass?
Yeah, penalty's gone to Brothers here. Good chance to get out of their territory. Redcliffe getting a little bit desperate and getting desperate too early. Here's Cowell. The idea was right to offload the ball. The timing of the pass wasn't so good, and Part in front of the man.
Jeff Burns. From memory, that would be the third penalty for offside against Redcliffe, trying these split-second timing passes, and all of them have gone the wrong way. Out it goes to Gill. Carter coming off him close. Brothers on the move. McElwain to Gill. Little dummy towards the touchline, trying to stay in. Kilroy on the 22-metre line. Staines. Ooh, and he was hit hard and lost the ball.
Big tackle there from Michael Webb. Redcliffe, we're seeing Redcliffe at their best when they're defensive. This is a good, strong tackle there. Redcliffe and the ball going free.
Webb. Cowell.
Very slow play the ball, Redcliffe. No wonder they can't breach Brothers' defensive pattern.
Part to Chew. Tries to get the outside of his man again. Steps back past two and loses the ball in the tackle.
There's the crowd in the Frank Burke stand. Of course, Brothers trying to get their third team into the grand final here next Sunday. They've got the under-20. They've got the Colt side in. They've got the reserve grade.
Gill. Grogan. Comes across past Burns. The ball's knocked down. Benson has it. Benson sets sail. Kilroy's after him. Also O'Brien there. Dives and makes the tackle.
Well, the pace of Brothers got him out of trouble there.
Quickly to his feet. Holder. Sets sail to Thorne.
I don't know what he's doing over this side of the field, Robbie Thorne.
Still going. Brothers' defence non-existent out wide past the posts. Can Redcliffe get the ball there? Chew sends it across to Part. Looking for too many there. Holder gets it now. He sends it to Cowell. Cowell gives it to Keogh. They've run out of space to move in, and Cowell's lost the ball and over the touchline. Another opportunity wasted.
Well, a wasted opportunity, but certainly the best passage of play that Redcliffe have been able to put together. But it certainly started from a drop ball from Brothers, and then Benson couldn't go all the way. We saw the pace of Brothers to be able to mow him down. Vince O'Brien and Joe Kilroy picked him up pretty quickly. There's the scrums, 9-7 in favour of Brothers. Tight head apiece. Good push from Redcliffe. Not good enough.
Greg Smith has it. Brothers leading 10-0. 12 minutes into the second half. Smith down injured. Slowly to his feet.
Been one of Brothers' better players today. Greg Smith has organised them and created a lot of point scoring opportunities.
Staines. First time Redcliffe have been in Brothers' quarter this half from memory. Bailey. Gill. Last tackle.
There's a score, 10-0 to Brothers. 27 minutes to go.
Smith to Staines. Staines kicks high. Coming down awkwardly for Barwick. Bounces right away from him.
Brothers
the defender's offside. Barwick has it. Grogan makes the tackle. Would have only just been outside the 5 metres.
Poor kick from Brothers. They should have got it well downfield.
Rolls. Part. Bleakley. Chew. Long pass out to Keogh. Comes back in field. Going strongly. Chew to dummy half. Canescu comes across.
Penalty. Not getting off the tackle player. Redcliffe with an opportunity to put points on the board. Still a pretty strong breeze. I doubt whether they're really within range. But Keogh, I think, is going to have a shot.
34 metres out. Chance for Redcliffe to put points on the board. Bob Keogh. Again, into the breeze, or coming across the kick at least. And the flags are up. So Redcliffe on the board, 2 points. Brothers 10, leading by 8 points, 15 minutes into the second half. Trevor Bailey restarts. Let's see if that couple of points. Holder makes a mess of it, but luckily didn't get a hand to it, and Chew picks up.
Yes, that was an ambitious take there, I think, from Darryl Holder.
Cowell.
This will be a bit of a confidence booster to Redcliffe, though. They've finally got some points on the board. They have been playing a little bit better lately. They haven't been making as many mistakes.
Keogh. Russell Port's touched by O'Brien. Canescu. Cowell.
Plenty of gang tackling from Brothers today. 2 and 3 in the tackles, close to the ruck.
Chew. No one back at fullback. Moore getting back there now. Wasn't anticipating the kick. It wasn't positioned for the kick.
Yeah, bad positional play from Clinton Moore. We actually saw him move up.
A good run now. He pushes away from Rolls, chases him.
Even beat Joey Kilroy on that run.
He took play to the 22-metre line. If the tackle had been made, he would have only been 10 metres out, and the pressure would have been on Brothers. And here's a good run from Greg Smith. 15 metres upfield. Valuable ground. And Dan Staines, good tactics, gets the kick away, bouncing down towards the in-goal area. The only problem will be if it's too long, but no, pulling up now. Barwick back there. Now that's perfect tactics from Brothers. Good work by Staines. And a good run from Barwick, evades a couple, but plenty of defence down there.
Good
Trevor
chase
Bailey and Gill.
Good chase from Brothers.
Holder. Niebling. That kick would have really taken the steam out of Redcliffe. They were starting to get moving. The attack was gaining momentum, and all of a sudden they're back in their own quarter. Loose pass, picked up by Thorne, but the knock on.
Well, something Redcliffe didn't do in the first half. They didn't really utilise the breeze at all. They're the exact tactics you have to employ with a wind like this. Pin your opposition down inside their territory, hope for a mistake.
Kinescu has a loose arm, but it's a Brothers ball. Gill for Kilroy, he's lost it. Picked up by Holder. Another opportunity, 5 tackles for Redcliffe to work play upfield with Cowell. Although Brothers have been in control of the match virtually throughout, Redcliffe are only 8 points behind. Lost ball, Brothers in possession with McElwain.
Kilroy getting attention in back play.
Rolls makes the tackle on Bailey.
There's Joe Kilroy limping badly.
Staines. Webb missed him with a big hit.
There is Joe Kilroy now. He's just been taken off the field. And it'll be interesting to see whether Brothers make a replacement straight away. Johnny Tapp's on the field. Pretty handy replacement.
Brothers ball. Smith to Gill. Grogan. Away from Benson on the outside. Good run from the centre. Dummies to Tapp. And Thorne came in from the wing to wrap him up. Staines. Away from one. Again, beating tackles through the forwards is Dan Staines. Baumba. Webb there with Niebling. 30 metres out. Smith. There's Tapp. Tackled by Rolls. Gary Smith. Niebling making the tackle, having recovered.
Yeah, Redcliffe bringing out a replacement.
Greg Smith
need to make some changes.
For Keogh.
There's the Redcliffe replacement. Steve Cherry, yeah, coming out. Cherry's been playing well in reserve grade over the last few weeks. Very experienced player.
Bleakley crosses the 22-metre line. Hart. Chew. Rolls quickly onto Benson and he's lost the ball. It was low. And Brothers in possession with O'Brien. Redcliffe had the chance out wide. They tried to get the ball there. Now Brothers on the attack. Carter. There's Cherry. With Part. Staines. Only 10 metres out. Smith. Gill. Away from Kinescu. Pass goes to Tapp. Tapp heading for the try line. Over the line he goes. Well, he's a prolific try scorer this season, Johnny Tapp. He's only been on the field 5 minutes and he scores another one.
Great work from Johnny Tapp. Plenty of determination. That was a good try. Set up by Peter Gill with a good fend on Greg Kinescu. But Johnny Tapp showing his value. Equal top try scorer in Brisbane this season. And he showed the power and determination at which he can run onto the ball. Here it is again. The ball fired out through Gill. Look at this little fend here from Peter Gill on Kinescu. Kinescu caught out wide, brushed aside by Peter Gill. The pass out to John Tapp, and then Tapp still a long way from the line when Brett Rolls got to him. and then he couldn't be held as he continued to force his way toward the line, and in the end got well across as Kinescu tried to retrieve the situation. From behind, we'll see how Brothers clear the ruck well. Bailey pointing right, fires the ball left. Couple of Redcliffe defenders got taken by the dummy. Here's the good work from the halves. Good long pass, that one from Smith. And then Peter Gill, much maligned in the early stage of the season for his poor form and the doubt about him being able to play 5'8", but he certainly played it well today. Good work from Tapp, beat Brett Rolls, then brushes away from the winger and then crashes across the try line. Good work from Brothers.
Trevor Bailey, 10 metres in from touch. Puts it in the air well, but waved away, so he has 1 from 4. And the score remains Brothers 14, Redcliffe 2. Trevor Benson restarts. Brett Rolls has dropped back to fullback. Steve Cherry into the centres with Darryl Holder having left the field. That 12-point lead should be enough for Brothers to win this match and go into the grand final.
Yeah, Redcliffe not playing well enough to really trouble them. It's pretty hard to see them scoring another couple of tries to get back on equal terms with them. Redcliffe have made far too many errors. As they've opened things up a little bit in the second half, the errors have also come with it. There were unforced errors in the first, maybe a little bit of pressurised errors in the second, but they really haven't been able to handle the ball at all well. And Brothers have used the wind beautifully.
Kick from Dan Staines once more, driving play back into the in goal for Rolls. The tactics from Staines, perfectly executed, no doubt just what Ross Strudwick wants. Barwick. Bleakley. Kinescu. Barwick again. Back inside Bomba. Away from O'Brien, but he just gets a hand to him and knocks him over.
Barwick's made a couple of good breaks today, but he's lacked support.
Keogh to Chew. Little kick through over Bailey's head. Smith can't handle it. Carter's after it. But knock on.
Big Trevor Smith on the sideline. What a handy replacement he is to come on now. Plenty of try-scoring potential. And also John Richards, the Redcliffe flyer.
Hart feeds. He's knocked over. Richards comes in and grabs the ball. It was Greg Smith after it. Bleakley.
Redcliffe desperate for a converted try. 11 minutes to go in the match. Brothers lead 14-2.
Cowell. Benson. Outside of Gill, and again confusion with Barwick. Grogan has it. Over Tapp's shoulder it goes, and over the touchline. Burns couldn't get back for it.
Well, Brothers let Redcliffe off the hook there after that recovery of the ball. They really had a good opportunity. Good tackle, this one from Dan Staines. Couldn't stop the pass from Cowell going away, though. And then Benson tried a little bit of fancy footwork and then was confronted by one of his own players, actually, in Barwick. The ball popped up to Grogan, and then not a good pass at all from Tapp, and it flew over the touchline. There's a few disappointed Dolphins leaving the ground. Well, they might be. They thought they had a great chance last week against Wynnum. Wynnum put pay to that in no uncertain terms. And now Brothers have come from the knockout semi-final situation. A miracle try by Joe Kilroy right on the hooter 2 weeks ago. And they look like they've got it won.
Chew gives it to Rolls.
This will be Brothers' first grand final since 1974. They weren't victorious in that grand final. But they look like they're at least going to get in there against Wynnum Manly. An unenviable task, of course. Their last grand final victory in 1968.
Keogh sends the pass on to Webb. He's still going. Haven't thrown the towel in by any means, Redcliffe. 8 minutes on the clock. Fifth tackle. Chew. Benson back inside his Rolls in a high tackle. It was Bailey around his neck. Penalty to Redcliffe.
Only a penalty too. There's no other motion from the referee to even consider sin bin or otherwise. Here's the pass back on the inside. Bailey comes back and goes just a touch high, yep, above the shoulders, brought him down. Bailey possibly a little bit fortunate there not to get something more severe.
Trevor Benson takes the penalty for touch. Peter Gill off. Craig McAlpine on.
Brothers making a couple of changes late in the match. Richards. And the hoodoo, it looks like that Ross Strudwick has suffered. He's lost something like 5 preliminary finals over the last 6 times he's had sides in there. And it looks like now he's finally broken that hoodoo. He's very confident today. He thought he had the side to do it, and they've come up with the goods.
Part, Chew, Keogh. There's Craig McAlpine marking up. Chew, little kick through on the blind side. Burns can't gather, and coming through quickly was Thorne, but it's over the touch and goal line.
Yep, and a goal line dropout, taken touch and goal off Burns. Let's have a look at it. Good little kick, this one from Robbie Chew. Gave an opportunity for his support players. Little one along the ground. Grogan comes, just touch Grogan, goes touch and goal. The defending side has put the ball touch and goal. Goal line dropout from Brothers. Still with the advantage of this strong breeze, they should be able to get it well downfield. Once again, we see Brothers taking plenty of time setting up their plays. They haven't rushed anything today.
Burns drops out. High one, down for Keogh. Thorne. Away from McGraw and over the touchline by Gary Smith. A core football, first tackle.
That's fundamentals, and Redcliffe have fallen down on the fundamentals today.
Only a few weeks ago, Redcliffe with the side on the boil and getting hotter.
Well, they had a couple of injuries, Warren. Of course, Cam Cherry was a big blow to them, I think. He was a player that could bust up the middle of the ruck and offload ball. He was a big loss. Fullerton Smith, of course, didn't play today, but no excuses. Brothers have outplayed Redcliffe today, and they deserve to be in the grand final next week. They'll be there in all 3 grades. Colts, reserve grade, and A grade. Good effort from the brethren.
Canescu. Part to Chew. Out to Keogh, sprinting through the gap. Again, the cover defence coming across well. It was Gary Smith. Made some very useful tackles today as Smith. Chew onto Webb. Moore onto him. Last tackle, 12 metres out. Chance for Redcliffe. Chew, long pass out to Barwick. Steps back inside, knocked over, gives it back to Chew. Little kick, goes up. Plenty of Brothers players there. Chew comes for it. Knocked over the dead ball line by Clinton Moore. So it'll be a goal line dropout.
Brothers hanging on to the end. Redcliffe showing a little bit more enterprise in the latter part of the game, something they didn't do in the first. Certainly lost the game in the first half by not using the breeze at their backs. They kicked poorly, put a couple out on the full, put one kick-off out right over the dead ball line. And really, Brothers, who are into the teeth of a gale in the first half, led 10-0 and were in a pretty secure position.
Brothers forced to drop out once more. Down to the halfway, Rolls takes it. McAlpine there with Burns to make the tackle. Canescu a dummy half. Out to Keogh. On the blind side is Cowell. Brothers defence still moving up quickly. Again, this pattern of moving up from the middle of the field. Part still going. Blinking wide. Had Barwick in support. Couldn't get it to him. Long pass from Benson to Canescu. Canescu sprinting. The hooker gets the pass away, but it's gone loose. Keogh couldn't hang on to it. Scrum to pack down.
Once again, Redcliffe just getting through the first line of defence, but some good cover defence from Brothers. The line moves up and it moves across. They get plenty of cover defenders in there, and what appears to be a half break is closed off pretty quickly.
Redcliffe scrum down, but it's a Brothers ball. Smith swung by one arm by Hart. Burns.
Well, there's Darryl Vandervelde, a very disappointed man. He won't have Mark Murray, who's sitting on his left-hand side, to help him next year either. He has retired from football, Mark Murray, after suffering that eye injury. But Vandervelde, who did well to get this Redcliffe side playing some pretty good football, must now be very disappointed with the way things have gone, and he'll have to really take stock for next season.
McGraw tackled midway between the quarter and halfway. Trevor Smith roving up through the forwards, gets a pass to McGraw, back to Bailey, looks for support with McAlpine. Good work
Good backing up. O'Brien has it.
6 to go. Touch Redcliffe.
Well, Redcliffe defence trying to get back into position, but the brothers' attack isn't well organised. O'Brien has a knock on the knee.
It's the brothers' bench. Most of the boys have been used today, and they can sit back with a great deal of satisfaction. Should be a big night at Brothers tonight. We've got the whole 3 teams in the grand final. Good effort.
O'Brien gingerly to his feet. Little blood coming from behind the ear as well. Trevor Smith. Brothers still looking for more points. Leading 14 points to 2. Bailey takes the tackle. Well, David, I thought if any side could trouble Winnamanly in the grand final, it might be Brothers. Not that I thought Brothers would necessarily get there. How do you think they can handle Winnamanly?
Well, they've got a pretty good defensive pattern, Warren, that moves up very quickly. They concentrate around the ball carrier, and they've got some good, fast outside backs that are capable of scoring tries. So I guess they've got the potential to play some pretty good football, but of course against a side stacked with stars like Winnamanly are, pretty tall order for the brethren, and they're going to have to be right on their best if they're going to really stretch Winnamanly next Sunday.
Greg Smith puts it up, rolls, takes the kick.
Interesting to see how Brothers, or how Winnamanly for that matter, contend with this Brothers defensive pattern. With it in close to the play the ball area, Wally Lewis will be able to outskirt it with those long passes. Of course, this is the end of the season now for Greg Kinescu and for Brian Niebling, who left the field a little while ago. Both players in strong contention for the Kangaroo Tour, and they'll could expect to be included into the train-on squad.
Good run from Part, running free, back to Barwick. Running out of room to manoeuvre. Part has it right on the halfway line.
Anyone wanting to go away on the Kangaroo Supporters Tour, there's still a couple of seats left if you want to come with George Donegan and myself, leaving on the 4th of November. Should be a great trip to see plenty of Queenslanders in the side.
Inside the last minute of the season for Redcliffe, flinging it around, trying to go out on a good note. Richards to play it. Benson puts a little kick through. Chasing through is Richards, but well gathered by, once again, Greg Smith.
A big night at Brothers on Saturday night too, the night before the grand final, a past players reunion. So anyone who wants to get down there, sure there'll be plenty of good entertainment and plenty of good company.
Even though they're bowing out today, it's been a good season for Redcliffe and certainly an improvement on last year. As McGraw bustles his way forward. But full honours today certainly go to Brothers, and it's all up to them to see if they can trouble the Seagulls next weekend. Bailey. Full-time siren sounds. Brothers running out convincing winners over Redcliffe by 14 points to 2. Brothers tries to gill, Burns and tap, while Bailey kicked 1 from 4. For Redcliffe, Keogh kicked 1 from 2. Statistics, well, the scrums went to Brothers 13-11, 2-1 the tight heads to Redcliffe, and the penalties 10-8 in Redcliffe's favour. Well, David, Redcliffe must be disappointed with that effort.
Disappointed. I think everyone who came to the game too, Warren, would be disappointed. They didn't play well. They made far too many errors, and I thought they were very disappointing. No tries again. I mean, they're just not scoring tries, and Vanderbilt, well, he's got plenty of time to think about it.
Well, from Brothers, who were your best players?
I thought for Brothers, they had some outstanding players. I thought Clinton Moore once again showed that he's got maturity beyond his years there at fullback. Had a very good game. Grogan in the centres was elusive at all times. Peter Gill, the best game I've seen him play this season, was dangerous every time he was in possession of the ball and also defended very strongly. The whole forward pack did a terrific job, particularly Dan Staines. But my big league Winfield Cup man of the match was the experienced halfback, Greg Smith. Greg, must have been nice, 10-0 at half-time, and you'd been against the wind.
Yes, David, it was a good feeling going in at 10-0. I thought we could have been probably 16-0, but 10-0 was good enough because once we got on top of them, I thought we were nearly set.
Yeah, your Brothers man through and through. Is this your first grand final? How long have you been with the club?
This is the first grand final with Brothers down here, yes, Dave. This is in 79.
And what's the feeling like over at Brothers now? You've got a few grand finals coming up next week.
Yes, that's every grade, 19s, reserve grade and first grade, so it'll be a few drinks tonight, I think, out the club.
OK, and plenty of work next week, I suppose, eh?
A lot of work, David, yes.
OK, good luck for next week. Great effort and a terrific game today.
Thanks a lot, David.
Greg Smith was the architect of Brothers' win. He had a hand in 2 of the tries, a couple of good try-saving tackles. He plays behind the line and organises that Brothers team. He did it very well today. I think a lot of the credit, though, has got to go to the coach, Ross Strudrick. Undoubtedly, he had that team well prepared for today's game. They played very controlled football, cool and calculating. I think when they come up against Winner Manly next week, there'll be a little bit more needed than just cool and calculating. I think Warren, they're going to need a little bit of magic.
Well, that's right, David, but at least they're in there, so they've got a chance. Right. Well, of course, it is the end of the rugby league year, and in yesterday's grand finals in the Sir James Foots Cup, Mount Carmel 28 defeated Keebra Park 18. In the under-19, Souths 18 defeated Norths 8. In the under-21s, Winner Manly 17 defeated Brothers 0, and in 3rd grade, Brothers got up 16-10 over Redcliffe. Now in Sydney, the minor semi-final yesterday, of course, Balmain 36 wiped Souths 11. The major semi-final today, Parramatta 28 defeated a weakened Canterbury 6. Next weekend, the preliminary final, well, it's Balmain up against Canterbury. What a game it should be. The grand finals in Brisbane at Lang Park, the climax of the year, the Colts, Brothers versus Wests. Reserve grade, Brothers versus Valleys. And in 1st grade, Brothers out for the hat-trick up against Winner Manly.